This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Do you understand the reason why this is happening? Why Donald Trump said this thing? Such an extreme thing, right? It's an extreme thing to say that there are two genders, even though see, so first of all, hear out where I'm coming from, like what my perspective is. I this my perspective is there's a clearly male and female are two clearly defined genders. Of course, I mean, who can debate that? But some people, like, how there are people who are known as lady boys in Thailand, as an example. So obviously, a lady boy or a there's also a term she male, right? You've heard that term she male. These people don't fall under any particular gender category, of course. So my opinion is that there should be male, female, and others. There should be a category known as others, which I think is already exists in most of the places on the planet. In most countries that you can think of, it exists. But what happened here is, and hear me out, just for a few minutes, hear me out, why there's this support for an extremist form of what should I say, like this gender, when it comes to this kind of gender identity questioning, right? Now the president of the United States is saying there are only two genders, male and female. This is the direct result of the extremism that liberals have been showcasing in America and in generally all first world countries, America and Europe. They have been demonstrating this kind of extremism, liberal extremism, I'm saying. Like there are, 32 genders, 100 genders, 200 genders, something like that, right? So these people have been uh, feeding into the minds of people like, no, there are not two genders, there are 56 genders, there are 98 genders. Now, any sensible person is gonna not acknowledge that, and they're gonna fight against that. To if somebody comes up to you and says, "I have studied gender, whatever. Like I have taken a course in gender, and I have studied gender, and I now know that there are 56 genders, or there are 100 genders, or even more, according to the LGBTQ plus community." There's so many, like they keep adding all those things, like this is my identity now, my identity is now this, that. So they kept adding so many like identities, and it went to a point where if police officers were stopping suspects on the road, they were confused, like what should I address these people as? People are confused about their pronouns. Like, if I see, like, if what do you think my gender is? Can you assume my gender? If you have common sense, you can clearly see that I'm a male. I have beard. I talk like a man. I my entire appearance clearly tell you that I am a man. But am I a man though? That is the question. The question is so simple that I see I might not be a man, right? But 99% of the chances that I'm a man, which it is, I am a man. I'm a male. That is my gender. I'm a male. I have a penis. And so now see, 90% or maybe like 90 majority, like more than 90% of the human population come under male and female. Now there is some anomalies, and I dare you toward anomalies, maybe 10% or something of the world population that come under some ambiguous genders, like they're mixed. They're neither male nor female, or you cannot clearly tell if they're male or female. But what the liberals were doing for the last few years, since the pandemic, it became even more extreme. What the liberals were doing, they were trying to tell the world that because just 10% of the human population have this kind of anomaly, the entire world should adjust and change their entire systems, all the policies, administrative systems, business related everything, education related systems, healthcare, any sector when it comes to the economy. Basically, the economy of the world is supposed to acknowledge and adjust. Acknowledgement is fine, but adjust according to the needs of these few, whatever, 10%, let's say, group of people. But o- but nobody, if you have any common sense, you will understand that that is not very sensible. That's not a sensible approach. That there is no sense of doing something like that, in the sense that it is much more easier for the world to see male, female, and other. It's more convenient that way if we maintain three categories: male, female, and others. So a three category system, which was already the norm. But now what happens is, because of the extremism that the liberals and the left wingers were were perpetrating to the world, were trying to make the world their way. What happened because of this extreme liberalism is that now we have a president in the United States who is uh, telling on his inauguration speech that there are only two genders. Now, just understand the damage that caused to those 10% of the people because of this. And who is responsible for that? Are the right wingers responsible for that? Of course not. If you have any sense making or any critical thinking abilities, you can clearly see that it's the liberals and the left wingers that are responsible for what we are seeing today. It is a backlash to the extremism of the liberals and the left wing politics, and that kind of nonsense, stupid people. I might say, even go far as to say to call them that, which they are. They're not very smart. I don't think liberals are very smart. Um, because otherwise, why would we have a president of the United States who is making such a claim? And well, I just wanted to say, close the video with this one statement, that the biggest mistake that the liberals did, and the left wing or Democrats, whatever you want to call it, like there's just so many jargon names for this group of people: Democrats, liberals, left wingers, and whatnot. But you get the point. Basically, the biggest mistake that liberals made was to hate the right wingers, to hate the right, and to hate the conservatives. You cannot really truly call yourself a liberal if you hate the conservatives, right? They thought that by hating the conservatives, it's going to go away. The conservatism is going to go away from the people. People are going to liberalize. That was their, I don't even know if they had a plan, but because a lot of people that come under the left wing liberal category, they're really stupid. And because of those stupid people, liberals got a bad image for themselves. And ultimately, the entire world is becoming more right wing. The entire world is becoming um, conservative, and it's really funny because in today's world, being a conservative, like young people, there are so many young people who are subscribing to right wing mindset, including myself. I have a lot more respect for right wingers now than left wingers. I never really had a lot of respect for left wingers. The only thing I respected about liberals and left wingers is that they were all accepting, but they were accepting in the beginning. As time went by, they became less and less accepting. If you are so accepting, then you would also accept the conservatives. You will listen to them. You will understand. You would understand and question. Like you would with a genuine, like not question with the with the intention of hating them, because you would question them and honestly try to find out like what is going on with them. So the biggest mistake that the liberals made was to hate the right wingers. You should have never hated the the right people who support the right, people who call themselves conservatives, or people who call themselves Republicans. You should have never hated it. And this applies, and this is not just about Donald Trump or about America. This applies to everywhere, all over the world. If you're gonna hate a group of people, if you're gonna hate a group of people, there's gonna come a time where those people are gonna come up with extreme forms of backlash, things like terrorism and stuff. So hating is never gonna solve anything. You're supposed to listen to the other group. That is the point of a debate. That is the point. The point of a debate is to understand and come to a consensus, coming to a common understanding. That is the point of a debate. But today the world has become so extreme that debating is basically about, it's like sports, fighting for my team. I'm defending, and I will do anything I can to support my team and defend and defeat the other team. That is my agenda when it comes to a debate. That is the state of the world today. But it shouldn't have been like that. So yeah, I mean, this is just a backlash for the extremism that the liberals and the left wing people were bringing to the world, or were trying to bring to the world for the last maybe 5 to 10 years. It has been slowly creeping in. I used to really support and care about liberals and their agenda, because on in the beginning it seemed like they were revolutionaries, which they were, social justice warriors. They were all revolutionaries. They were trying to bring positive change in the world. But as time went by, as I think it happens, ego took over. They used to they kind of became the Nazis, the liberal Nazis, you can call them. So being a person of higher understanding, of being someone who can be just, it's all about being uh I don't know what to say, what else to say. I think I've said it already. You should always listen to the others, other group of people. Now, Republicans and conservatives initially, or in the historical sense, they were known for not listening to other people. But I think in today's world, frankly speaking, people who support and subscribe to right wing politics, they're more open minded. It just seems, for me, honestly, they just seem more liberal and more left wing to me today. I think the definition of right wing and left wing is changing these days, becoming very, it's confusing. Who is really the liberal and who is the conservative? At least I don't think that that these left wing sub political mindset subscribing people, the LGBTQ plus subscribing people, I don't think they're liberals at all. I think they're very conservative. They're conservative because they are against they are there for the suppression of people who don't find it comfortable for like the entire world shoving LGBTQ and gay rights and stuff into your in down your throat. And because there's another problem with the LGBTQ kind of mindset people, is that see, so a lot of people are naturally lesbians or bisexuals or gay, right? But there are also a lot of people, like, if you introduce those things into the school curriculum, they're gonna come up with a world, like, because children, they don't know, right? Their worldview is forming. It's just happening, right? Their mental image of the world, which is all bullshit, by the way. Like any image, I'm not talking about LGBTQ, like the mental formation, the image, the what is it called, the worldview, and it could be any worldview. All worldview is just a mental image. But anyways, this kind of mental image where they're gonna question their own genders and their own sexual identities, it's gonna create a world where, like, everybody, I honestly think that if the left wing and liberals are given too much of a acceptance, like if you fully accept their ideologies, then the entire world will, I think, probably become um LGBTQ plus or whatever, and they will be not comfortable with that because um I don't know, it's just. But the biggest mistake the liberals made was to hate the conservatives.